Hello everyone, this is your fellow RuneScaper, Moehawkman, and in today's video, I will be opening 100 of each clue reward. I'll start with the easies and end on the master clue rewards, and while you see me open them, I will be talking about some basic clue information and what you can do if you choose to farm these for yourself. Now let's start with the easy clue rewards. I'll be honest, the loot pool for these isn't amazing, but what can you really expect from something that has the word easy in the name? Now the main drops you're going to be looking for is pretty much anything that gives you fortunate components like composite bows, specific trim or gold trimmed items, god items, and anything like that. You'll also get a bunch of trash items like mithril salvage, god arrows, and other useless low GP items. The only other things you'll want to keep are the reroll tokens and master clue scrolls. While watching, you might notice that I decide to keep the reward despite not being amazing because of this very reason. Master clues can be annoying to farm for because of their low drop chance. Now there are two ways to get easy clues effectively. The first method involves thieving from ham members and specifically the normal members and not the guards. For whatever reason, the guards have a slightly lower drop chance. The second method revolves around just killing goblins, but they have a slightly worse drop chance than guards. So I would personally recommend you doing the thieving method if you have the levels required. Now the minimum requirements to do the thieving method is 99 thieving because you need the cape, which will automatically note any item that you steal from the members, and level 84 archaeology, which allows you access to the sticky fingers relic, which lets you continuously steal from them. Please note that even at level 99 thieving, you can still be caught by the members, even though the chance is very low. As a side note, I do recommend that you switch out 4 slots on your action bar tab, so that you can polish and drop the buttons, the damaged armor, and the swords. By using this method, it can take anywhere between 15 and 25 minutes to get a stack of 25 clues, or you can double that if you have bought the upgrade from the NPC near the Grand Exchange. Now as for the second method of killing goblins, is pretty much straightforward. Just go to Goblin Village with either a cannon or aggression potions and camp it out. This method is slower and more costly, so you will have less overall profit if you use this method to get your clue scrolls. But if you don't have the level requirements to do the thieving method, this is the next best way. Let's move on to medium clues. The loot pool is a bit bigger, so the chance of getting better drops is larger, but there's also a bigger chance of disappointment. You'll pretty much get the same average amount of drops of fortunate component items, pages, reroll tokens, but there will be a noticeable difference, and that is the salvage will be adamant instead of mithril, which is slightly more valuable, but not by much. Now personally, I wouldn't recommend doing medium clue scrolls, because they have several 2-in-1 steps where you might have to kill a guard in one area and grab a key, and then go to the real spot where the next clue step will be. This can be annoying if you haven't bought the upgrade, which allows you to just skip that first part altogether. Now if you really want to do medium clues, I personally recommend just killing Dagonos in either Waterbirth Island or under the lighthouse west of Relica. Now I do recommend you bringing proper combat gear because you will be in a multi-combat area, and they are aggressive regardless of your combat level. Now to save cost on like prayer potions, you can bring a twisted bird necklace or one of the variants so you can get prayer points back every time you kill one. Now if you are kind of unlucky getting mediums from these, you can actually just degrade hard clues, which is what we're going to be talking about next. Now when it comes to farming for clues, I personally recommend just doing hard clues, simply because you have a small chance of getting dyes, and their overall loot pool is better. And during the recording of this, I actually did end up getting a dye which sold for about 150 mil. Now the best method to farm for these is by killing hellhounds. They have low combat stats and they die very quickly to every combat style. They also have a relatively high drop chance, and the best place to kill them is in the Taverly Resource Dungeon. The only problem with farming them here is that this place is very popular with high level players, so finding an empty world is going to be harder than normal during peak playtimes. Not only that, you might also find some high level players who will bring an Uldak coil, and they will use this to crash a world that already has someone in it if they are impatient. It's a dick move if you ask me, but I can't control what other players do in this game. Now for the loot itself, if you don't count the dyes, you can get a variety of alchable items like Ruin Salvage, Elemental Battle Staves, and you can also get a large variety of Fortunate Component items. Now another notable item that is either worth keeping or selling are the various skipping tickets. The most valuable one is actually the puzzle skipping ticket, which has a current GE price of over 1.2 million each. Now you can't completely trust that price, but there are players who are willing to pay that much just so they can skip the puzzles. Now you can also get other various rare items like third age items, but I've never gotten one, so I can't really say how often you have the chance of it. But if you do like probably 1,000 or 2,000 hard clues, you'll probably get one or two in there somewhere. Now let's move on to the elite clues. And I can tell you one thing is that I hate elite clues with a passion, because of the sheer annoyance to even get them. Now while the loophole is higher overall than hards, the effort to get them doesn't feel worth it in my opinion unless you get a die or some type of super rare item. Now there are two effective ways of getting elite clues. The first method revolves around just killing shadow creatures or by thieving from Prifddinas elves. Now I did test out both methods for quite a while, and in the end it comes down to what you like more. Shadow creatures have a better drop rate, but less loot quality, while elves have a better loot potential, but with a lower drop rate. Now on average I was getting 5 elite clues from shadow creatures and 4 elite clues from elves. So if you do plan on farming for these, I personally would recommend thieving from the elves, because you can get like potions, soft clay, porters, you can get all that stuff from the elves, but you can't get that stuff from the shadow creatures. Now when it comes to the loot, I didn't really get much. I was actually getting kind of annoyed because of the amount of seeds and the ornament kits that aren't worth anything. And this is one of the reasons why I don't recommend doing elites unless you use them to farm for master clues, because if you're trying to farm for master clues, you have a 1 in 5 drop chance of getting them from elites. Now I hate the seed drops because most of them are pretty cheap now, and you might get like, maybe 100, 200k worth of seeds, but overall it doesn't help, and the loot table makes them worse because you get a lot of them. Now as a little side note, there's actually 2 weekly events that give guaranteed elite clues with a small chance of being a master. One is the treasure chest that you get from prawn balls from fishing. This requires some time to get because it's complete RNG when it comes to opening the prawn balls, and you have to toggle them in the skills and experience section. And you also need level 80 construction to build a salvage hunter suit so that you can access the chest in your personal home aquarium. Now the second guaranteed method is by defeating the skeletal horror after you complete the Rag and Bone Man and the Fur and Seek wish list mini quest. You can do both of these events once per week, and both of them have a small chance of upgrading the elite clue to a master clue. Now finally we can get to the master clue rewards. Honestly, I don't quite know how I should feel about these. You get a very good chance of getting something good because the overall loot mitigation is much higher than elites, and the overall drop pool is much better. Now the easiest way to farm for masters is either 2 separate ways. They both take a long amount of time in their own right, but it depends on how you want to do it. So the first way is actually really simple. You just farm the various tier of clue rewards. So easies have a 1 in 50 chance of giving you a master, mediums have a 1 in 30 chance, hards give them a chance at a 1 in 15, and elites are a 1 in 5 chance. The only other effective way to get them is by opening ancient caskets, which are an archaeology reward from completing tetra compasses. But those are also annoying because you need to farm for the pieces, and you also gotta find the casket spot and dig it up. Each method takes a considerable amount of time, so you should pick your own poison on which one will get you the master clue. Now as for the rewards themselves, the 2 most notable things that I got was a soul ornament kit, which was worth over 50 mil at the time, and Artemis, which was the treasure trail pet. Everything else was just my standard loot of fortune component items, god pages, scrolls, and other miscellaneous items. I also got a decent amount of seeds, but their value wasn't really that great. Now all in all, I can't really do a real price check because I just had so many items and I didn't have the space to hold them, so I just kept selling them as I went along. But at the time of this video, each fortunate component sold between 1.1 mil and 1.4 mil because the price was a bit higher when I first started doing this. Now if you don't want to count the 2 high priced items, which is the die and the ornament kit, which is over 200 mil by itself, I would say that I would got around maybe 200 mil worth of anything else, because the god pages that I found ended up being worth over 65 mil with a price check, but I really don't think those pages are going to sell anywhere near that. Maybe 45, maybe 50, but it shouldn't have been anywhere near that price. So overall, I would have to guess that maybe I got around maybe 400 mil total from all the fortune component items, salvage, pages, and everything else. Which is pretty good haul, but it did take me quite a long time to farm for the elites and the masters. Just getting the elites and masters took me several weeks, and then that doesn't even count for the time it took to complete them. So would I recommend anyone doing this? Yes, because overall, if you consider everything, I was getting maybe 10 to 15 mil an hour just from this stuff. I mean, sure, if you don't count the die, it'll probably be a little bit lower, but if you just farm easies, you can easily get 10 mil an hour just from doing this. Now, personally, my own RNG is pretty low when it comes to stuff like this, so I wasn't expecting anything. Yeah, sure, I got a die, but that was my first die, and I had done a lot of hard clues before they changed it so that you can actually collect them and stash them like you do now. Now, I don't know if I'm ever going to do this again. I might just do it all a master clue reward only, like maybe if I store up like 200 or 300 or who knows what the number will be, and I'll do another open like that, but we'll see. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. I don't know when I'll make another video like this, but it's going to be weird if everything pans out. This has been your fellow RuneScaper, Moehawkman. Be kind to one another, be safe, have a nice day. Peace out, everyone.